The range of possibilities for this year's St. Louis Blues team is pretty vast. They could be good, they could be not so much. We'll discuss on today's special season preview edition of Locked On NHL, your team every day. The NHL season is less than a week away, and Locked On's season preview coverage continues as we welcome in host of the Locked On Blues podcast, Haley Simon, to discuss everything that you need to know about the St. Louis Blues ahead of the 2023-2024 season. Haley, thank you for joining me today. Let's start with the biggest storyline surrounding the St. Louis Blues this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the identity of this team. A lot of people are skeptical when it comes to the St. Louis Blues, considering the fact that they had an awful season last year. But the St. Louis Blues, they just named Brayden Schenn as their captain. So there is a little bit of a buzz going around with the Blues, and they haven't been that awful during preseason. They defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets last night. They did split with the Coyotes, but you are seeing a lot of positives. So I think it's the fact of what's the identity of the Blues and how are they truly going to be this upcoming season.
Excellent. What was the biggest offseason move for St. Louis and why?
Well, they didn't have many moves. They did acquire Kevin Hayes. There was this whole controversy with Torrey Krug and not waiving his no trade clause to go to Philadelphia. So that was the biggest offseason situation that went down. Other than that, it's been relatively quiet here in St. Louis.
Who figures to be the most important player on the Blues roster this season, and what makes them so crucial to the team's overall success?
Robert Thomas, without a doubt. This guy is killer when it comes to assists and playmaking on the team. So I believe that if Robert Thomas has a successful season, then the guys on the Blues will follow. And he is vital as well for when it comes to the Blues' offense. So if RT is doing good, then the team will be just fine.
As RT rolls, so roll the Blues. Who is a potential breakout candidate for St. Louis this season?
That's a good question. So for me, it has to be Oscar Sundqvist. Sonny coming back was such a huge impact already in preseason and training camp, and he's definitely making his mark. And I don't think a lot of fans expected to see him play as well as he has been. So right now, for me, it has to be Sonny season.
Okay, I love that. It's always sunny in St. Louis. What would a successful season look like for the Blues this year, Haley? And what is at stake if that level of success is not achieved?
Personally, I want to see them in the postseason, so maybe getting a wild card spot. Now, this is a competitive Central Division that the Blues are in, as you know. So I'm not too keen on that happening. But as long as the Blues honestly have over 40 wins, then that's fine for me. They had 38 last season. Not a lot has changed with St. Louis besides getting Kevin Hayes. So I'm not, and Oscar Sundqvist coming back. So I'm not really, like, oh, okay, this team is so different. They're not. So it's just getting over 40 wins, maybe trying to potentially get a wild card spot for the playoffs. And if the Blues don't achieve that, to answer the second part of your question, I could see head coach, and I love him so much, but I could see Craig Berube losing his job and some more change having to come into play.
For more on the St. Louis Blues, make sure to follow Locked On Blues on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. And make sure to check out the season previews for all 32 teams across the Locked On NHL channel. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.